Jobs for Her, back with an expert chat on a different topic this time, which is like the strategies for social media profiling and branding. So I think a lot of times we get too excited when we hear of the words branding and when we hear of the words like profiling, social media, and all of that. And I think it's become more important now since we are talking of COVID-19 and businesses, will not work traditionally the way it was about maybe word of mouth, or when it was about physically doing things, distributing leaflets or having exhibitions where you could have one-to-one chat and interactions with your customers or clients. So this is a brilliant topic that Jobs for Her has brought up for the audience here, and I will be covering a few aspects of this. So I'll be talking of the word social, I'll be talking of the word profiling and branding to start with, and then address the questions which are here. So when we say the word social, of course, social means it has something to do with people. And when we speak of social data, we're speaking of the data which is available online or offline about you or your company or whatever work that you are doing right now. So social media, when we speak of, we usually think it's social media is of course online, but one of the very important things in the way the businesses work in India is that the way the physical interaction has taken place or what's happening offline has a huge impact online. Let me explain this with an example from my own work and business. So when we speak of the offline interactions that we have with the customers or with the audience that we are serving, a lot of times people want to go back and search who you are, what are you doing. So the good experience that someone has of you will make them search for you more. So most of the time, recommendation references will come through word of mouth, maybe, and that again is somewhat related to the social media or the internet aspect. What I mean here is, let's say you have a beautiful product and you're doing wonderful work, you're giving wonderful quality. So chances are that people will tell another friend through WhatsApp, share the pictures of whatever good uh, benefit they got from it or whatever good feedback that they have. So what happens here is that again, the way somebody had a real experience either with you or your product makes them go and recommend this to somebody else, and then further the other person will want to check out whether you have an online presence or not. So this is something to do with the social word and the social media in general. When we speak of social media branding, I think all of us would like to be called a brand in whatever way we are like operating, whether it's in the individual capacity as a human being and the source of trust that we are as an influencer or whatever other role that we have, or as someone who's as a company that people are able to find good things about us, good reviews that people are able to take back and see. So these are a few things when we speak of branding, and everybody likes to be a brand, meaning a lot of people would want a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, a lot of comments, a lot of good reviews. These are the things that we look at, or people trust it a lot. That's branding for you. And when we speak of profiling, I think it's about how you maintain your profiles, what kind of strategies you adopt, what are the techniques and the kind of processes and methodologies and channels that you use and the communities that you use to be able to market your idea or product or service. So the first question comes from Shipra, who says, how much is it important to connect with an influencer to target more audience? I think this is a very relevant question, Shipra, because a lot of times some of the organizations that I'm part of, or some of the groups that I have worked with, whether as a CSR or a pure corporate organization, I have seen that a lot of people want to bring in celebrities or very very influential people, especially from the celebrity world, more specifically from the Bollywood industry, or speaking of even the YouTubers who are like a YouTube people who are YouTube sensations or very very popular. But let me tell you this, that yes, of course, it depends again from product to product. Also, if you actually go back into the daily conversations that people have, and when they see a celebrity promoting a product, typically they'll say, oh, isko kaam nahi hai, this person has got no job right now, that is why this person has got into even marketing and talking about this product in the ads. So I mean, the way people now I see, now that I see people talking about, celebrities and the way they are using, and they're being used to market products and sell products. I think there is also, it's no longer about, if that particular actor is part of it or that particular actress is part of it. I think it's become more about the user experience and the word of mouth. So the common people have become more powerful than the big shots, I would say, into selling things. And that's something I have learned from the two businesses that I operate on. One that operates in media communication and development, and the other one that operates in STEAM and technology and digital literacy and life skills and all of that. So coming from, and my market is kind of diverse. It has children, it has parents, it has teachers, it has corporates. It's like a huge audience that I have got. But what has worked for me is the customer, the client, the people you're serving, the people who you're actually impacting when they talk about it. I think that's a more powerful impact and a more powerful strategy for making people trust you and believe in you and actually see your impact. Even if so, now here when we speak of the influencer in the like in the marketing part, I would like to bring around a little of these criterias which are important. So it depends on the budget a lot, because a lot of times, if it's a cause, that's fine. People might want to do it for free. So if it's like, you're promoting mental health, if you're promoting women empowerment or any other social causes, environmental awareness, or all of these, it's very easy for, I mean, influencers to get connected because they might see a social angle to it. But as the organization grows, as you become a big body, I think when that's when you need to start thinking about the budget. Can you really afford this particular influencer, and will they be able to, how long are they going to be working with you, and how long can you sustain them with your financials and all of that. So that's one thing to consider. Secondly, important to understand when we think of bringing in influencers is what kind of a product or a service or a domain that you are working in, because it depends again, if it's something totally new and you think not many people will take it, then again, then you might think, okay, I'll bring in this influencer. People might just start trusting this influencer, and therefore they might take up this product. I've seen this primarily on Instagram or Facebook. When I've seen people who want to get into coaching and spread coaching to a great level, they bring in celebrities that they have worked with, or I mean, the influential people that they've worked with, and make them talk about their work. But again, that's no guarantee that you'll be able to sell the product, because again, as I said, that today people have become more and more dependent. That herd mentality plays a huge role. That if somebody who you and that you're part of some circle, and that person recommends it and says, hey, you know what, this is really good, that person will actually want to put in the money to actually use your service and product and actually give you the real time feedback, and again further recommend you to more people. So that's one of the things. Now when I speak of some of the things, like let's say if there are uh, health related services or events which are happening, or non-profit related activities that are happening, a lot of times people like to bring in celebrities and connect with influencers, because I think they're looking at more number of people to that more footfall to be there, or they want more viewers to be there, more people to be connected. And hence a lot of times influencers get connected without any returns, because they feel that they're going to add value to something. At times there are big companies associated with these non-profit initiatives or social causes. So I mean, everybody sees like a branding going up for themselves. So it depends, what product or service so you're looking at. But again, I would say, if you're someone who's starting out starting out as something, maybe after a break or something, it's best if you even don't think of the big term, like a lot of people coming and taking your thing or watching your thing. What's important is to convince and to start with and influencing at least 4 or 5 people around you, the ones who'll trust you blindly. Let them experience, even if they are your closest friends. I would recommend and suggest you let them experience what you've got. Once they experience it, maybe for free, maybe for a discount, maybe for a group discount or something, once people who you know and who know you, once they really experience something that you've given out, I think it becomes easier for you also to confidently market it further, use those resources and feedback and all of that to market it further to more people. And then give them incentives that if they get a group, they're going to get a discount of this. So then come up with more strategies which kind of make sense. That all right, you've started with a few handful of people who trusted you, and you have been able to effectively influence them. Then if you go and influence more people, it'll go naturally. After that, once you're able to get a small group of people who believe in you, who actually see your work, even if it is like a lot of hard work to get those few people, I would suggest go for that small number to really see your work, understand your work, and actually benefit from it. The moment you put in the hard work for that smaller group, naturally you'll see that those very people will be happy. If they go back happy, if there is real impact and real effective content or material or product, experience that they've got, chances are they would go back and recommend it to at least one more person. So one suggests to another person, so that way the circle grows. And I think that's the best way to actually grow your business, because it builds trust, rather than suddenly you get like a 50, 60 people, and the very next event you don't have many, you have hardly five. I think it's better to start off with five, go to seven, eight, then go to 10, then go to 12, but then it'll grow. That's a sure shot method of actually growing. But then again, you'll have to maintain quality to be able to maintain those numbers and to grow further. So that's for Shipra. Now Sheena says, how should I optimize my bio and profile to encapsulate my business? Good question. So little bit of insight into the two words that I used here, bio and profile. Very, very important. So a lot of times, we feel that, so bio, I'll tell you what according to me is bio. Bio can be two things. Bio can be, if you see Facebook, there are these little like this little space where you can add a little bit about yourself very briefly, who are you and what you do, and then the whole, like work profile, work experience is elaborated. So bio can be that little tiny thing where you can add a few characters and talk about yourself, or it can be the long work experience and study and all that follows after that. Profile, on the other hand, could include the profile of the whole, what kind of pictures you upload, the videos you do, the activities that you have, and how you maintain it. And so are you talking about all of your things on your personal profile, or do you have pages that you are creating and then kind of talking about your work? So all of that plays a huge role into understanding how social media branding and profiling works. Let me give you an example from my own life. So there was a time when I, was told by a lot of people that, Madiha, you are into so many things. How do we figure out what is your domain expertise? What is your core expertise? People are confused because you're all over, and your profile talks about, sometimes this, sometimes that. But then, I had a very, very honest, kind of a reflection and a personal moment with myself. And I said, Madiha, do you want to show people, like what you're not, and just be selective, and then put in the hard work to maintain that selectiveness and to maintain whatever you started with, and not be able to kind of show who you are truly? But every day, if I'm doing something, if I'm into something, let people, it's better for me to let people see what I'm really doing, what I'm really kind of talking about and into. So even if it confuses with people at one time, when they are hearing whatever is interest to them, whatever is interesting to them, eventually they'll see. And that's what happened. Only yesterday I'm talking of, like, when I was approached by someone for a Facebook live, which is happening tonight. I was told that you have so many domain expertise, like, you tell me what is it that you would like to speak on that, or that we could speak on. So that is something, so eventually there will be people who realize that your content is good, you're able to create an impact. So eventually the result will be that people will come and ask you what is it that you can do for them or with them that will be impactful and that'll be beneficial according to their requirements and criteria. So there, I mean, it's not about people getting confused and getting more and more confused about what your brand is, what are you standing up for, what is your core expertise. All of that, I think people like to emphasize and focus on, but to me it doesn't matter, as long as I'm doing it naturally and people are able to see what really I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Here I want to again highlight, that it's very important to grow and show your growth. What I mean here is, a lot of times, when we speak of branding of course includes the kind of fonts that you use. It includes the kind of pictures that you use, the kind of posters that you make, the color combinations that you choose, the kind of content that you give out, how you hashtag. All of that matters, of course. But what also matters is, how you kind of put it across and grow your profile. So let's say you started with some work where very often in social media world, what happens is somebody sees your work. So for example, I'll tell you, when I started off, I had some of these titles as communication mentor, and somebody else comes into the picture, new into the field, with a new kind of idea for work, and they take up the same kind of uh, title and they start using it, and I'm like, oh god, people copy so fast. But I have grown, so I know that it's time for me to change the role of from communication mentor into a thought leader to thought programmer to social development expert, to more titles that are going on being added to my name as I'm doing more work. So what I'm trying to say is, as your work grows, don't be ashamed, don't be shy to include more titles, and those should only be added, the titles should only be added when you see the validation from a bigger organization than yourself, or more authentic on a larger scale. So a lot of times what happens is we like to give ourselves titles, which is what is very easy to do, because you feel you're a brand, you've done some work, you've got a TEDx maybe or something or the other in your bag, and therefore you feel you are already a brand and you stand up for something, or you've got X number of views in one of your videos or few of your videos, therefore chances are that you've already become a brand. It's not that. What's very important is that that's the way I do it. When I associate and when I think of a title of my work, the kind of effort I'm putting to kind of build that profile, I kind of first find ways to contribute through different platforms, and then be able to validate and get validation directly, indirectly, from bigger organizations and bodies, so that I feel that yes, I have justified it. So tomorrow, if anybody asks, how are you a parent mentor? How are you this also? And I'm like, you know what? I'm working with this company and as a learning partner in the parenting project, and I'm doing this work in this particular segment. So when you are confidently, able to talk about your work, even if you have 50 titles, whatever number of titles, it does not matter, because you've got the work to prove your substance and your solid foundation of that particular domain. When we speak of profile, one of the very important things to maintain is to not go very wild with ideas and experimenting too much about the posters and the profile and all of that. What I mean here is, so we get excited, this poster is going to look really really nice if I add this color, if I put this picture, if I have this. What I have learned from my own journey of social media branding and profiling is this, that people like to see something which is same. I know we believe that there's going to be a boredom, but there's also a trust factor which is very important. So when you have designs which are common with little changes that happen in the poster, it builds trust in the long term, because people remember, oh, the logo was here in the center for this particular kind of a thing, or the kind of colors that were used was this. So it becomes easier for people to trust you when they see common colors, common logos, common patterns, and with very few changes in what they see in front of them. One way to do this and maintain this is that you use a canvas. So Canva is like one of these apps which you can use on your phone anytime, and you can have certain templates that you create, and that you figure out, for this type of work, for this particular project, I'm going to use this logo and this background and this color. So I'll give you an example. So there's a service that I provide which is called Thought Programmers Hub. So I have used a particular color like red. Same thing, I had a School Your Mind program where I used a same design with a blue color, but somewhere else I was using another color, black. So in some cases, when it's about parenting and all, I have used a simple, the logo and all remains on the top, but I also have an additional logo for that particular project. So there's a company logo and there is a project logo, and then there is more content after that. And what I do is, every time I save it on the Canva app, I make a copy of the same, and then it becomes easier for me also, because understand this, when you're starting off something, you may not have enough resources or budget to employ other people to do your work. So when you have an easy app and you have an easy system, you can effectively maintain the quality, you can maintain the kind of branding you're pulling out, and giving it to people, and how people perceive you. All of that becomes a little smoother and easier, as compared to when you kind of have to put so much of effort to kind of do everything from the scratch every single time, or depend on people to do it for you. When you urgently need it, you might have to do it yourself. So why do the shortcut and have a compromise, and not a poster that you'd be proud of? So what I would suggest is, have basic designs, play around with the Canva, play around with the Sketchpad also, which helps you design very interesting designs and all. So go out and kind of first see what are the types of templates that you can create. Once, don't use the existing templates. If you have no idea at all, somebody asked me that I am a housewife and want to start a career in social media profiling. What is which course is essential before you get into a course? This is for Taranjat. Before you get into a course, I would suggest go and play around with these tools which are there, because once you play around with it, you'll get, real ideas of how to fix things, because these are easy to use tools. They don't require too much of a hassle. Once you get easier and comfortable with the easy tools, you can go for higher tools. By the way, Digital Garage and is one platform where I learned a lot of digital marketing and social media, all of that from. But you can also look up all the latest resources which are happening. Coursera, Udemy, all these offer sometimes free courses, sometimes paid courses. You can also check out LinkedIn, which has sometimes, learning courses and all. So look up what works best for you and what is your exact requirement. Maybe you can tell me about your requirement in the comment in the group, and then I can process it further and maybe help you find one platform like that where you can acquire knowledge. Going back to Sheena's question on bio and profile, what's very important to understand in this is also that, to have a balance. At times people get bored just looking at your posters. They want to have a real connect with you. So it's very important to do a short video and upload it at times in your own words, or to go for a Facebook live where you are interacting with people. So I'll tell you how this works. When you think of a video to upload for your marketing and for your profile, it's important to understand, the maybe at times, the effort involved. If it requires you to dress up a certain way and to be, seated in a certain way, and to be doing something, it's important to know that, if you are going to require so much of effort, a Facebook live is not a very good idea, because you might have to adjust the camera, adjust things, and then to be able to upload it. So, and also if it's very, very long, and if you've not done, if you're scared of technical glitches and you don't know whether you'll be able to maintain the flow if something happens. So all of that comes into the picture if you want to kind of remember. Also location, if network is bad, or if you're in some place where, you have too much of noise and you have to edit videos, so that is the good time to kind of, do it as a recorded video and then put it up. On the other hand, if you feel that there's some message which, will click better if people are watching you live, then here what can happen is you can go for a time. You have to understand when majority of the people are online in your profile. And when you understand that, okay, this is the time when majority people will go online, that is the time when you must target to kind of do the Facebook live, or even if you're doing it on another page, share it on your page. So this is how it works. You go Facebook live on your laptop or something, and then you check out from your phone where you are also logged in on Facebook. You share it from that particular page on your profile. So then chances are that, people will see it's been posted on your profile. So they might go back and check that other page where you're talking. So this is one of the ways that I'm sharing. Next question is from Nisha, who says, my profile is up to date. Still, I got very less engagements. What should I do? Nisha, don't worry, because if even if when you say less engagement, what's important to understand is what are you looking at through engagement? You mean you've asked a question and people are not replying and commenting? If that is the case, you need to rethink about the kind of questions you're asking, because a lot of times, people are not comfortable sharing all sorts of things about themselves online. So you have to really be sure of, what is it that they are looking at, and would they be comfortable answering those kind of questions. Also, are you asking on the right kinds of platforms? Are you asking the question the right way? Is it reaching the right people? So one of the strategies which I can tell you here is, so if in case, it's about something, you want feedback and opinion on general topics, so you can do it like a challenge thing, where you have like 5 people that you tag, and then those people take it up and tag 5 more people, and each time you have to give credit to somebody who started it from the first. Or if it's your if you can, attach a poster and say this is the initiative, so everybody who tags on the picture, or tags the people. So this is one of the ways to kind of, ensure that engagement happens, depending on what sort of question it is. If it is something to do with personal thing, where you're talking of, views of a video or something, here very important to understand is that, are you looking at, just spreading your video and making it go viral, or is it about actually getting customers converted and, into proper so people who are viewing are turning into customers. Why I'm sharing this is because a lot of times it's not necessary that you pushed a post so many times and you've got so many viewers, and that ensures that you're going to get business from so many people, or even 50%. It's a sad story, because a lot of times what happens is that, 50% of the people also don't convert. Forget about 50%, even 5% don't convert. So what happens is that it's not easy. The conversion is not easy unless, you're sure of, where you've targeted and who you've targeted at. So what is important here is that whoever you've targeted, whatever views you've got, Have you been able to even get two customers out of it or three customers out of it? Because understand this, monetization is very important, and you don't have to show anything to the world. I know a lot of times, when we post, we worry, oh God, if I've got just 50 views, people will think my product is not good enough, so they will not buy it. It's not necessary. As I said for Shipra's question, that what's very important is to convert the small numbers that you've got who trust you, who you trust, to be able to turn into customers. Once they believe in what you do and how you do it, it becomes very, very natural and easy to convince more people after that. So that's one of the things to look at when we speak of engagement. Also, engagement could mean, when we speak of LinkedIn, when you're sharing stuff, it's important for you to figure out who all are, your search people who searching you up, who are the people who checked your profile. That'll give you an idea of what kind of people turning up and watching your thing. See, there'll always be people who've kept their thing hidden, profile is hidden, so you can't see who they are and where they are from. But those who are visible, you will be able to derive a pattern of what kind of work you've done. So I'll give you an example. When I started using LinkedIn very actively, there were initially people who were mostly students who were watching my work. Later on, as I built my professional profile, I added more people who are known or unknown at times, but who I was interested to build a professional network with. When they started seeing, I started, posting and hashtagging accordingly. And when, that strategy changed, I started realizing that more and more people were watching from the corporate world. And now it's come to a time when, I don't even know, there are people globally who are watching my stuff. So what happens is you have to slowly start realizing. That's for LinkedIn, by the way, what I said. Also, when it comes to Instagram, initially people start off with having a lot of private profiles. I mean, again, it depends. You want to keep it a small base and you just want to win that trust and see how it grows, or you want to make it public and then you want to see and play around with different hashtags. But there again, don't put too many hashtags. Also realize that if there are people who are on Instagram who you have worked with, or who you're collaborating with, tag them, have them on your story, encourage them to share it on their story, and that's the way, each other's followers see the story, and then the profile, the follower base increases. Also, if you have minimum hashtags but important ones, that'll give you an idea. So one hint here is, when we think of the hashtagging in Instagram, you try to see, what are the most common hashtags that people have. There are two ways to look at this. A lot of times, you might feel that people, the hashtag which is less famous, if you use that, then chances are you'll be easily found, because there'll be 100 or 120 posts with that particular hashtag. On the other hand, if you go for a very popular hashtag, maybe you'll get lost in the millions of posts that might happen or turn up for that particular post, for that particular hashtag. But then again, have both of, you see for yourself. Use one of the popular kind, one not so popular, and see which works for you in the long run. Unless you do, you won't know, because it depends, today, from person to person, product to product, service to service, domain to domain, geography to geography, how these things work. It's no longer about, one solution will apply for all. So that's the thing about bio and profile that I wanted to add. Ushwa says, even after creating good content, the ratio of ghost or inactive participants has increased. What strategy should I take up? Ushwa, here I would like you to think a little bit more and have more questions for yourself to brainstorm. When we speak of good content, a lot of times we feel that good content is because I come from a background of experience of something, or I have studied from one of the best universities or institutes, or worked with some of the best. So therefore, I'm creating good content. That's one way to look at good content, because you have the expertise and experience, you are able to produce good content. On the other hand, good content, according to me, has a lot to do with how people perceive good content. So typically, we would expect that people would want us to create perfect videos, have the perfect backgrounds, have the perfect setting to be able to validate and say, oh, this is good content. It's not necessary. What's important is the connecting ability of the people. So one of the things that plays a huge role is the language, and that's something I figured out in the initial years of my business, that so for me, I mean, it worked when I was mixing, using Hindi and English together, when I was talking to the viewers in the Facebook live, or when I was doing videos talking about what work I was doing, or going and actually talking on stage to different kinds of audiences and doing different kinds of trainings. It was more about the language, because if you are from a, let's say, city in South India, the language, a lot of people will be comfortable with one type of language. Also, what kind of target group you're serving. If it's like the very educated and modern crowd, very, very modern as in into the professional field, they will get the English language very easily. But if you're talking of people who are on the ground or in the social sector, or related to family stuff and connecting to family and selling the products there, language plays a huge role. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to be English to show your talking in English to show that your product has some national level exposure or global. Click locally first, because unless you win over the local crowd and get the local people in your own city and state interested in your work, the national scaling up and the global scaling up is not very it's not a good idea at all, because your business is going to suffer. You're going to have huge challenges to deal with, because you're going to be thinking big, but then you can't see and penetrate. Also understand this, that I did realize in the initial years that people used to say that start global and then go local and national. It doesn't work, because see, what happens is when we think global, you might get a project and a role and a position with someone globally or in something globally, which is, if it's work, it's fine. You'll have to build your expertise, because that's what you're going to be doing every day. But if you ask me, when you're starting off a business yourself, or if it's a social cause, or if it's a small business or a startup, it's important to build your roots and strong roots in your own local context. Because once your understanding of problems and things grow with the local context, and then you take more case studies which are parallel from change makers in other states and countries, or when you look up and read up more, it becomes easier to connect and talk about things, because you come from genuine background of having done your groundwork and actually knowing how things work and how things will the grassroots reality basically, and the soil stuff that people want to understand. So once you become like an important person in your expertise and understanding of the local problems, the national scale up becomes easy, because then problems, I'll tell you this, problems, and when we speak of context and geographies and all that, one thing I've realized is human beings everywhere essentially are the same, and the problems are the same. So somewhere, like, I'll give you an example. When I understood the students problems and the parents problems in my own city, Kolkata, I started realizing I was able to connect better with other states and other cities parents and children, and globally as well, because what I knew was essentially some problems remain the same. I just had to learn more, talk to more people, understand what exactly was the problem that they were facing, and then to be able to add and then do more research and build my content for a national context, for a state context, for a global context, for another country. That becomes easier once you know your local stuff and you're very, very solidly grounded in your local stuff, and not just for the sake of it, reaching out to 10 people or 15 people and show on your social media, oh, I have reached out to so many people. The fact that people are commenting or liking is no proof that you're actually working deeply with so many people, or learning from them or serving them. The next thing is, so inactive participants can happen, as I said, because the good content definition on our side as experts or people with experience might vary from the target audience's definition of good content. Also, the good content, at times, according to us, is, we go into depth and we talk a lot at times, and at times we talk very, very short. So very important to understand is on what kind of topics do you want to go into depth and let the audience or the world know, and the people to find you and then say, okay, this person is able to speak so long on this particular topic. And then you don't want to kind of bore people for so long, and you just want to give limited content for some of the things. So it's very important to identify and segregate where you want to do long, where you want to do short. Next is Janvi. Hi, I'm an entrepreneur and my product is new in the market. Due to lockdown, I wasn't able to market my product. Can you help me to know how can I target audience in a better way by being at home? Good question, Janvi. Very, very practical and real with the current scenario that we are all in. So here I would suggest that when you're thinking of, first thing you have to understand is you are the entrepreneur, you are the boss. So people are going to trust you more than the product and how you're going to talk about your product. So what I mean here is, one very important tool you can pick up here is your own story into connecting with that product or building that product or starting with that product. your own personal story will connect brilliantly with people, because people always want to know why you started with something. If there's authenticity, if there is real good vibe of realness and no fakeness, and actually people believing and seeing when you're talking that your work and you're not doing it out of some fake means or some superficial aspect of it, people will trust you, people will take that, and then people will get curious about your work. Then again, the second step is, when you connected personally with your audience as an entrepreneur about your story, about your journey, and don't talk too much about what struggles you went through. Talk about why that particular product and that domain and that cause in your story more, because that is what people want to hear. Because at some point, what I've realized is people like to talk about, tell us about your journey. It's a stupid question, honestly, because how many times, and I personally have got bored of telling my story to so many people. So either I find ways to bring in the specific domain or topic or particular area of the the cause or the content or the business, and then weave it into my story and then tell my story, because that gets more interesting even for me as a person. How many times can I be the speaker and say the same story again and again? So that's something I want to share with you when I speak of the entrepreneur part. Now, another thing very important here is when you speak of the product, again, as I said, don't go for the big numbers and trying to convince everybody. Go for the smaller group who will believe and trust your product. Maybe go for a free demo of something and make them talk about it. Or even better than a demo is give them a discount, because even if you're getting like a small discount, and you're giving a small discount, and you're at least getting something, and as a paid, you're getting a product paid. So that gives you confidence as an entrepreneur to kind of improvise your product, or know how to market it differently, what didn't work, what didn't convince someone. So that's one of the ways to look at when we speak of marketing your product. Also, targeting audience, I think this is a very relevant question, because depending on the product, so there are lots of Facebook groups that are there. Try to understand what kind of product you have, what kind of audience you have. So if it's something which is educational, might work with parents, so go and join parents groups in your city. If it is something to do with business, so join startup and business kind of groups which are there on Facebook. If it is something which you think might just click in smaller circles, so just post it on your own profile and tag a few people, or it's best not to tag, honestly. Go and share it in their messenger and let them know that you posted this, and if they're interested, you'll be more happy to give them a discount or something. These are ways. See, as long as you're honest, you're able to kind of prove and validate and eventually explain and elaborate on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So even if somebody becomes mean and gets back at you for tagging them or selling your product and trying to push it too hard on them, you've done it once and you've done it with all honesty. So chances are, you'll be able to explain, and you don't have to worry about the consequences after that. One very important thing that Taranjit has asked, which I want to again kind of go back on. I'm a housewife and want to start a career in social media profiling. One very important thing, Taranjit, is to understand that when you speak of, you know, I want to understand here that if you have had no experience into either using a lot of social media, or even posting pictures with a mindfulness and seeing how hashtags work or how people like and comment, I would suggest you go and either watch other friends profiles or other people's profile, from where you can learn what kind of posts they are going, scroll down, scroll up, see what type of bio they have and all of that. And then I would also encourage you to start exploring some courses. There are a lot of YouTube videos that will help you kind of get started on understanding. But again, look up who you are watching and how long you're watching them, because it shouldn't be a waste of your time. Talk to people, talk to people who are in the professional field, maybe your husband, maybe your friends, maybe your father, anybody who is into professional field, who can guide you a little bit into what kind of people they are, and they'll be able to just have a look at their website or their YouTube channel, and maybe give you some suggestions, whether you should watch them further or if you feel they're good enough or not. So that's one of the things when we look at Taranjit's question of how, not having. So what's your background? If you've done any learning before, if you've already, done some form of professional learning before, or have done some kind of job before, that'll give you an idea into how things work, and you can have lesser effort into doing a course and learn from experience maybe. And of course, certifications and courses always add a lot. There are lots of courses which are not like a diploma or a proper course, but those are just courses which will give you a badge for your LinkedIn or your social media. So you can even go for those kind of simpler courses and then see if they work for you. Go for bigger ones and longer ones. Shreya asks, I'm not a tech savvy person, but the need of the hour requires you to be one. So, how can I work towards improving in this aspect? Good question, Shreya. So, what is very important to understand is, see, when we say technology, technology is a lot of things. See, I mean, sometimes we take technology too light and sometimes we take it too serious. What I mean here is, when we take it too serious, I mean, we talk of AI, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud, and we talk of website, backend, and coding, and all of that. It gets more and more complicated. That is also technology. And if you've never done any of these, you'll get more and more scared. Oh my God, what are they talking? I have no idea. I have no clue. So that's one way to look at it. On the other hand, technology is as simple as also social media. Using your phone, it's also as easy as just downloading an app on your phone and playing around with it and getting little tech savvy. So I would encourage you to not think you're not tech savvy, because the fact that you are on the Jobs for Her community groups, and you're able to pose this question, and typically that you're part of Jobs for Her itself and you're watching this, you are tech savvy, you're able to understand things. So tech savvy is like a very general word. I think we need to understand what form of tech savvy are we talking of. Technology, as I said, is also the higher skills and complicated stuff, and it's also the simpler stuff and the simpler skills. So when you are starting with simpler stuff, so here is a guide to everybody who's watching, and who is interested in understanding social media and technology. One good way to start with technology is through social media, because and more basic than that, so I would say there are three layers. There's a beginner, there is an intermediate, and there's an advanced. So beginner level is where you can even start using your phone, understanding how maybe WhatsApp works, how what are the best features and all the features of Facebook, Instagram, when you're downloading it on the app versus when you're using it on your browser on the laptop and PC, and how it works differently. Also experimenting and seeing how Zoom would work on your laptop or PC, how it would work on your tablet or iPad, and then how it would work on your iPhone or normal Android phone. So these are basic things to start with, to understand how the technology and the tech savvy profile that you want to build eventually. So that's one of the ways. Secondly, you download apps like, as I said, Canva, and play around with it and see how designs are made, logos are made, all of this. Play around, use templates. You can also use more like creative tools which will help you draw things on your phone and make notes on the phone. When you start with simpler tools, that's the beginner level, and you start getting tech savvy and having a grip on technology. Then the intermediate level would be where you get comfortable talking and conducting meetings and hosting meetings and stuff on the Zoom. Second, you're using social media, you're doing Facebook live, you're able to post videos and record and post videos, do Facebook live at the same time, know what kind of hashtags are clicking and not clicking, and you're able to engage a crowd and talk to people, and know how to have titles and bios and profiles which connect with people. So that's the intermediate level. The advanced level of technology would be where you know how it works at the back end, how the data analytics works, how optimization works, how you are using some of these Facebook tools of marketing, and you're taking a package and then they're helping you target a certain geography, or YouTube, when you are monetizing your content to Google ads and all of that. And then even further in the advanced level, a higher version of the advanced level itself would be where you're doing artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, and you're talking of cloud, and all of that goes into higher and higher forms. So you don't worry about the top part directly. Go slow, start from the beginner stage, go on to intermediate, go from intermediate to advanced, and trust me, it does not matter. So if you want to be called a woman in technology, a woman in marketing, a woman on social media, woman whatever related to technology, you are, even if you are so reskilling and upskilling works this way. Let's say you've done something of the beginner level before, and now you want to upgrade yourself and upskill yourself for the intermediate or the advanced level. That's one way to look at upskilling, or like looking at it. So you were skilled in something, you started it and you reskilled yourself. Or if we speak of, let's say, upskilling, it could also mean, so upskill actually means two things. You were at a lower like level and you want to climb up to a higher level, or go into more complicated stuff and you feel you're able to take it. You were, so somebody who's not into technology and coming to technology, or learning some skill of technology, that's one way to look at it. The other thing is somebody already into technology getting to know and developing more skills and experiences and insights into how technology works. So that's another way to look at it. So I would encourage you to kind of, keep in mind all the three options that I'm saying: the beginner level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level, and the higher advanced levels as well. And go slowly from one step to another and upskill yourself. Namita, I work in sales department and we opt for conventional sales routine, going door to door to sell our products. I wanted to suggest some ways that I can do the same on social media due to the present times. Thank you, Namita, for your question. I do understand this is really difficult for you because when you are used to a model of door to door marketing and you are kind of, talking to customers directly, and then all the, like, the big shift of moving into the digital platform. One thing I would suggest is, depending on your product, is it possible for you to go back and tap into your database and see if you can talk to them again and figure out if they can take an advanced version of your product, or if it's something that gets over and they want another piece of the same, the sample of the same. Or, you can come up with more strategies to kind of incentivize it. So let's say, you are having a strategy in place where you are not going to do this marketing. You are putting maybe those people responsible and saying, if you're able to, kind of get five more people, then every person either gets a discount or they get a discount on the product that they buy. So these are various ways to look at it and see if that works. Also, you can give them some, 1+1 kind of offer if they are kind of bringing one more customer. So things like that, or give them a discount. So that's one of the ways that I can think of, if you want to work around it. Ruchi, I have been appointed to do the social media profiling for an e-commerce company. How often should I post content, and how to make my content relevant to the present times? One good question. Because a lot of times what happens is when we speak of e-commerce, so this is like, you have, so let me give you an example here. So let's say, you have a website where you're selling your stuff, all right? And you have all the things which are listed there. Like, let's say, what is the product, the detail, the picture, the pricing, all of that. One good way is to kind of, when you are right now in this situation where it's not easy for you to operate in normal terms and conditions, you can, come up with strategies which some of these big companies come up with, that they get a, like, a discount if they are able to kind of convert five other people in your friend circle. So everybody gets, a little bit of either the earning, or they get some incentive or some kind of return or a reward for, or, kind of promoting your product, or doing something with it. Because what I've seen typically is, the more, somebody else gets somebody on board and they get a discount for it, and everybody in the group gets discount for it, that's one of the strategies that works brilliantly across products and services, because everybody, wants that 200 discount. So in my opinion, why would I go for, like, put a condition like this, that, if six people are buying it, then everybody in the group gets this much of discount. So initially you'll have to forget about the profits, but you'll have to go on, building an audience which sees your work, which trusts your work. Or the first 10 people will get a discount of this. So every, if everybody is working to get the first 10 people, just to kind of, as I said, group, or the first 10 get a discount. So come up with strategies like that that'll work in your smallest of circles. And again, as I said, once you're able to convince the smallest of your circle, the bigger circle is easier to convince. Now, the last question is, I'm a freelancer since 6 months. I'm into content creation. How can blogs help me have proper branding strategy? Is now what I would like you to understand here is that a lot of times, we need to understand this, that when we speak of blogs are mostly content, oriented. Now, if it's a service that you're providing, then by all means you'll be able to, talk about, the service, or share a video or something. Product wise, you'll have to kind of get into maybe the story of the product on your blog, or your website, or, kind of make your customers talk about it and upload it. Or, social media you can use to kind of let them know that, like, this is the video of Facebook live that you're going to be doing, and people are going to be, if they are interested, they could watch you, all of that. But again, I would encourage you to think about this, that if you are trying to monetize the content, it's not easy. I'll tell you why. Unless your content is really, really good, it's not easy to get paid. So there are some magazines that I know, if you have a core expertise into something, they like offer a good pay for submitting one article per month or something. So I was actually approached by people like that on LinkedIn, several magazines, and then there were some people, some websites that I looked up and I was reading up, and then it's based out of US into porn, and so basically preventing children from porn addiction and the negative effects of social media and all that. And I was getting a good amount as a pay for writing an article, but that was too much of hard work for me. So I didn't want to go for content creation after that. I said, that's not the field I want to explore, because that's a lot of hard work. And I mean, how do you build content if you have no ground experience? So, but then there are a lot of organizations that you'll see, and these days I've seen even Facebook has come up with the job positions and openings. So you can check out, and I've seen a lot of content creators required. So I would suggest that have your own content site and all of that, but also look at working with someone where you're able to monetize. Why I'm saying this is, when you're able to monetize your content with a third party, even in smallest of ways, you get confidence of what's working and not working, and then you're able to build strategy with someone because they will pay you. You don't have to worry about kind of generating the money. But once you get an idea from there, as you work there, you will develop more ideas, and for a different context of your own, you'll be able to find ways to monetize your own digital content and how to kind of monetize content, or go for ads, which I don't really like as an option. But yeah, that's the option many people choose if they want to kind of digitalize, if they want to monetize their digital content on their blogs or websites. So yeah, these are some of the things to look at. I would like to conclude with thank you so much for your questions. I would like to conclude with some of my own learnings from doing so much of social media posting. And now that last week, there are a group of boys that I teach, and at the end of the session I was just making them realize about what they wanted to be known for. And when they looked up my name on Google, they were like, ma'am, you're so famous. I said, no, it's not like that. So they were like, no, but look up, people are looking up your things about you on this context and that context, and you're all over. And there was another time when when somebody made my fake profile, and I had to go to the main police station here and approach the cybercrime department, and they have helped me a lot. And they made me sit down and made me understand, you have to customize the social media so that nobody can see your work, and you're all safe, and nobody will upload your pictures and all of that. And that's when I was laughing, and I said, sir, please sit down. And I showed him, and I said, sir, how do I control all this content which is all over, because of the trust that people have shown me? So he said something, in this police station, that uh, now there's no choice. Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan have had to go through a life, because that's the price. They are paying a price for being popular. So maybe it's the life you've chosen, and it's the choice you've made. So you'll have to now pay for it. So I mean, we are with you, and there's nothing to worry. You keep doing your good work. So I said, thank you so much, sir. But what I realized through these incidents, which children come up and they tell me that they've seen my video somewhere on Facebook or YouTube, and they looked up and they found me on so many different pages or websites. And then when this police station, the main police station here, and then when I approached the cybercrime department, and when they tried to tell me how to control my content and my safety and all that, and they saw I was all over and there was no option to control where all my post was going, I realized one thing. Branding is so much to do with the trust that people show you. So let me tell you, my own website, it turned up on the top 3 or 5 search results if you look up my name, is not because I put in any amount of money into marketing, because I had no money, honestly. All I did was I came up with a trial error method of using Instagram, of using Facebook, and Facebook I knew worked best because more people were more comfortably online. Instagram was not very easy to reach out to because not all kinds of people reached there. But yes, the kind of services that I wanted to start with, Facebook seemed like a very good option. And because I kept, hashtagging Madiha Ahmed, Indian thought leader. Now, better me, better India. I kept, experimenting with more and more tags. Now it looks like all of that worked. And organically, very, very organically, I have been successfully able to bring up my own website into the top 4 or 5 search results after my name is being typed, like Madiha Ahmed TEDx or Madiha Ahmed Kolkata or Madiha Ahmed, just Madiha Ahmed or Madiha Ahmed OPC, different things that turn up. So this, I'm able to talk about this confidently on this subject because I have seen the success in my own website without using any amount. Also, let me tell you, I've tried using only one time social media, Facebook, to push my post. I got so many comments, I got so many views, but I didn't get even one customer for that particular workshop that I was trying to organize. So that is when I realized, and there are times when I have 50 views, 60 views, but I do ensure and I do get back a very good feedback of my work on those projects, and I end up, trying to get the trust and really give good experiences to people through a demo, through a brief exposure to what I'm doing. So all I'm trying to say is, if you want to be a brand, if you want to be someone who wants to, win the trust of people in business, in any field, in any domain, be yourself. Secondly, weave stories, not just like a motivational stuff story, but actually, every time you're bringing in a project, an initiative, weave it around your own experience in the smallest of ways, or your own observation about the people closest to you who've gone through that experience. When you do it naturally, when you do it from your heart, trust me, people get the vibe and they trust you. Because today it's not about having the perfect background or having the perfect, setting, or the perfect video and the perfect look and the perfect makeup that connects with people, or the perfect dress and choice of colors. But what really works is the way you talk about something, how people actually believe in it, and they see that there is real stuff out there that they're going to get if they connect with you, if they buy your product, if they buy your service. And that, when you're talking, they can believe you, they can trust you, they can come to you, that you're approachable. All of that will really, go across if you're really living it and working with that methodology. So values and principles play a very important role, and those that you practice in your personal life get extended, when you're talking on social media, or when you're talking on a bigger platform, on the digital platform, and when you're trying to build a brand. So if you're a person who's honest and consistent in your own personal life, you're naturally, you'll, without even knowing, eventually, once you get your tools and you get some clarity of how those tools are used, you will naturally go for style like that, if you put in your mindfulness and a little bit of thinking into how you want to execute all of that. Another very important thing is, who you are, of course, matters, outside of the social media world. And, we say that, the world that we show, the life that we show on social media is not the real person, or they are not the real people, or they are, showing what they are not. That happens when you're using filters. Even my Instagram is unfiltered. So I try to, go with that attitude of actually putting out real stuff out there into the social media profiles I have, or in any form that I'm talking, because the more real I am, the more people will believe me. They'll believe what I do and how I do it, and it becomes easier for them to trust me with their children, their families, their stuff, and of course, their money. Because see, what we understand is, oh, this person in this family, this group and this community is rich, so go and pitch it and they'll be able to afford it. They'll be able to afford it one time, but later on, it's the trust and real, genuine authenticity and experience that they get from you, they'll make them trust you in the long run and actually pay for you and pay for what you do. So understand this, that it's not like you are privileged and you have a resource and you have these people. No, trust me, nobody, you can, you can't be so blind and so silly and immature to think that, okay, if I just do this, it's going to work. It's not going to work. There has to be a back end, work which you do, which will show up in the front end. That front end could be real time impact on the ground. It could be, how people perceive you on social media, and your digital footprint plays a huge role into the work that you are going to do, the promotions that you're looking at, the career that you want to build, the kind of, even relationships today, people today don't, before they go and kind of marry or even think of a relationship with someone, they want to know how people have spoken about them in their, digital world, if people have said anything bad about them in the digital world. Of course, you can't control all that. People might say bad things about you, but overall, the vibe that you create plays a huge role. Thank you so much for watching this Facebook Live on social media branding and profiling. If you have further questions, please post it in the group. If you feel related topics will help you, please suggest related topics. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure answering your questions.